This man loves you so much, but he has another woman who. And before you let your heart tighten or your thoughts run ahead of you, don't scroll, listen to this, because this message is not here to confuse you or hurt you, it's here to steady you, to tell you the truth your soul already feels but your mind keeps trying to outrun. And yes, this message is for you, not by accident, not by algorithm, but by timing, because there is a reason you've been feeling a strange mix of comfort and unrest lately, like something is close but not fully revealed. Like love is present but not fully free, and that feeling isn't wrong, it's intuitive, it's your inner knowing tapping you gently and saying your heart needs this right now. Slow down and hear what's really happening beneath the surface, because the man you're connected to, whether emotionally, spiritually, or energetically, does carry deep feelings for you, not shallow interest, not curiosity, but real attachment, the kind that lingers even when he tries to distract himself, the kind that shows up in his silence, in the way he watches, in the way he pulls back and then reappears. And the reason this connection feels heavy sometimes is because it's unfinished, not broken, unfinished, and unfinished things create tension, especially when love exists but alignment does not yet. And here is the part you need to hear clearly, without fear, without blame, without self-doubt. The other woman in his life is not there because he loves her more than you, she is there because she represents familiarity, obligation, comfort, or timing that hasn't caught up with truth yet. And this doesn't make him evil or weak, it makes him human and conflicted, standing between what feels safe and what feels real. And if you've been seeing repeating numbers like 222 or 555 or even 1111 lately, that's not random, those are signals of crossroads, of decisions forming before they're spoken, of energy shifting before actions catch up, and you didn't imagine the emotional pull, you didn't make this up, your heart recognized something genuine. And recognition is rare, which is why it hurts when it can't move freely. But listen to this, don't scroll, because the universe is not asking you to compete, it's asking you to observe, to protect your heart without closing it, to trust that what is meant to choose you will not require you to beg, shrink, or wait indefinitely in confusion. And here's where the prophecy part comes in. Because this situation is not static, it is moving, even if it feels paused. And movement does not always look like action at first, sometimes it looks like internal collapse of old choices, sometimes it looks like discomfort growing too loud to ignore, and that is happening now for him, the weight of divided loyalty, the exhaustion of living out of alignment, the quiet realization that the version of life he's maintaining no longer fits who he's becoming, and you are part of that awakening, not as a disruptor, but as a mirror, because your presence showed him what honesty feels like, what emotional safety feels like, what depth feels like, and once someone experiences that, they can't unfeel it, they can try to bury it, but it resurfaces stronger, especially at night, especially in stillness, especially when distractions fail. And if you've been wondering why this connection won't leave your energy even when you try to move on, it's because the story isn't complete yet. But completion doesn't always mean union, sometimes it means clarity. Sometimes it means release with understanding instead of resentment, and your role right now is not to chase answers from him, it's to listen to your own spirit, because your spirit is calm even when your mind is anxious, your spirit knows you are not losing anything by waiting with dignity, and you are not missing out by refusing to accept half-truths, and this is important, because love that arrives before readiness often becomes pain instead of partnership, and the universe protects you from premature outcomes more than you realize. And yes, this message may stir emotion, but it is meant to soothe, not destabilize, because no matter how this unfolds, you are not being asked to sacrifice your self-respect for love. Real love never asks that, and if you feel tears welling up as you listen to this, that's release, not weakness, that's your heart acknowledging truth without drama, without illusion, and that's powerful. And here's the cliffhanger your soul is leaning into, a choice is forming, not tomorrow, not instantly, but inevitably, because divided energy cannot sustain itself forever, and when that choice arrives, it will reveal everything you need to know, not just about him, but about how deeply you trust yourself. And until then, stay grounded, stay observant, stay open but protected, because the universe is not testing your patience, it is aligning your future. And alignment always feels uncertain right before it becomes clear, so don't scroll away from your Intuition, don't silence what your heart has been whispering, because your heart needs this right now, and what's coming next in this story will make sense of everything you felt but couldn't explain. There is a quiet, almost imperceptible tension that has been building around this connection, one that you have felt deeply in your chest but may have struggled to name, and listen to this carefully, don't scroll, because this message is for you and your heart needs this right now. It needs to understand that what you are sensing is real, and it has purpose, not punishment, not a cruel twist of fate, but a moment in time designed to reveal character, alignment, and the depth of your own heart. Before anything else moves forward, because love, true love, is not just about attraction, it is about timing, it is about readiness, it is about presence, and right now the presence you are offering yourself is more critical than any external situation, especially with a man who loves you yet is entangled with someone else, and this duality is not a reflection of your worth, it is a reflection of his inner unfinished work, the lessons he still needs to learn, the truth he has yet to face about his own desires and responsibilities, and the universe is patient, infinitely patient, giving both of you space to evolve before the inevitable confrontation between his heart and his choices arrives, and don't scroll, because the patience you've been cultivating is exactly what will protect you from being pulled into chaos that isn't yours to manage. Your heart has been practicing discernment, your intuition has been sharpening, and all of this is preparing you for clarity, which will arrive in ways that may feel subtle at first but are unmistakable in their power, because clarity has a vibration, a resonance that aligns with your own energy, and you will recognize it immediately when the moment comes, a quiet knowing that cannot be ignored, and your heart needs this right now because it is learning that love does not require compromising your standards, that devotion does not demand sacrificing your peace, and that intimacy does not mean tolerating division, and the man who loves you but is with another is at a crossroads, whether he is aware of it or not, because love, when real, cannot be contained without consequence, it cannot coexist with duplicity without creating tension, and the tension he feels now is his own internal alarm system, the subtle nudges, the repeated coincidences, the moments of restless thought, the flashes of remembrance of what you mean to him, and all of this is designed to guide him toward truth, toward integrity, toward the choice that will either honor what is genuine or reveal what was never sustainable, and don't scroll, because your role is not to force his awakening, it is to witness the unfolding while holding your own boundaries, to allow the universe to orchestrate the timing rather than trying to manufacture the outcome, and this is where divine intervention often looks quiet, almost invisible, because when a higher power is guiding movement, it does not rush, it positions, it aligns, it removes what is unnecessary, it slows down what is premature, it protects hearts that are ready to receive but cannot yet fully engage, and your heart needs this right now because your patience is a magnet for alignment, your discernment is a signal that you are ready for love that mirrors your growth, that respects your boundaries, that celebrates your depth, and that does not come with divided attention, and listen to this, even if he cannot act immediately, even if he does not choose the right path right away, the energy between you is already transformative, because recognition is always the first step toward resolution, the first step toward honesty, the first step toward authentic love, and the universe has been weaving signs around you, subtle nudges, repeated numbers, dreams that speak in metaphors, moments of déjà vu, people arriving at key moments, all of which are confirmations that movement is forming behind the curtain, that what looks paused is actually in preparation, and don't scroll, because the preparation phase often feels like tension, like longing, like uncertainty, but those feelings are not obstacles, they are indicators that the transformation is underway, that hearts are aligning, that decisions are being influenced by forces larger than immediate perception, and your heart needs this right now because understanding this prevents panic, prevents rash choices, prevents the kind of desperation that would compromise your dignity or your future, and listen to this carefully. Because the man who loves you may not yet have chosen, and while he navigates that space, you must navigate your own, recognizing what you will accept, what you will tolerate, and what you will never compromise, because love that is worthy does not require negotiation with your core, it enhances it, it aligns with it, it affirms it, and what is coming next is a lesson in divine timing, in watching someone you care about confront their own choices while you stand strong in yours, and don't scroll. Because your strength, your clarity, your ability to remain grounded amidst uncertainty is your greatest protection, your greatest ally, and your greatest magnet for the alignment that is forming, and your heart needs this right now because surrendering control here does not mean giving up, it means trusting that the universe knows the sequence, the timing, and the unfolding that your mind cannot yet see, and trust is not passive, it is active, it is patient, it is wise, it is discerning, it is choosing to remain whole while external circumstances shift, and when that shift occurs, it will not be forced, it will not be chaotic, it will not harm what you have built inside yourself, it will arrive with synchronicity, with clarity, with unmistakable signals that confirm everything your intuition has been saying all along, and the other woman will no longer be a distraction, a threat, or a test, she will simply be part of the clearing, part of the alignment, part of the movement toward truth. And don't scroll, because seeing this unfold will require your calm presence, your patient faith, and your refusal to allow fear or jealousy to drive your choices, and your heart needs this right now because the difference between a love that thrives and a love that is complicated is not in intensity, it's in integrity, and integrity begins with your own, not with anyone else's. And as the universe orchestrates the next moves, pay attention to the signs around you, notice the patterns, notice the subtle nudges, because they are confirmations that nothing is wasted, nothing is random, nothing is meaningless, and the man who loves you, whether he chooses differently or finally arrives, is being guided by forces that mirror your own journey, forces that are not arbitrary but carefully calibrated to ensure that when the right moment comes, you are not just ready, you are prepared, aligned, and recognized in a way that reflects the depth of your love, your discernment, and your patience, and don't scroll, because witnessing this without interference, with trust and clarity, is your first act of sovereignty in this story, your first declaration that love does not have to compromise you, and your heart needs this right now because the shift forming will only land fully if you remain anchored, aware, and connected to your own truth, and when that moment arrives, you will understand that what once felt unbearable, complicated, or impossible, was only creating the space for the love, clarity, and integrity that you deserve, and that everything, every pause, every frustration, every internal tug of war, has been leading to this moment of alignment that finally makes sense of it all. There comes a moment when your soul quietly begins to recognize the difference between love that nourishes and love that disrupts, and don't scroll, listen to this, because this message is for you and your heart needs this right now, it needs clarity, it needs calm, it needs truth delivered without panic or shame, and that is exactly what I want to convey to you. Because the man who loves you but is entangled with another woman is not a reflection of your inadequacy, but a mirror for unresolved energies, old patterns, and choices that are being confronted in real time, and your heart has been sensing this tension, the subtle inconsistencies in his words, the pull of his presence mixed with absence, the unspoken weight that lingers in moments when he should simply be present, and this is exactly why the universe has been nudging you to pay attention, to notice the signs, to feel what you feel without judgment. Because intuition is never wrong when it is allowed to speak freely, and you have been allowed to feel it, deeply, fully, without silencing it, and that is preparation, not punishment, and that is power, not weakness, and if you have been seeing repeated numbers like 444, 111, or 777, or even having dreams that feel prophetic or symbolic, these are confirmations that your awareness is active, that your heart is receiving signals it cannot yet fully articulate, that the timing of everything is orchestrated beyond immediate understanding, and don't scroll, because understanding will come, but only after observation, patience, and steadfastness, and your heart needs this right now because it is learning endurance without despair, faith without blind hope, and discernment without overthinking, and discernment is the skill that allows you to see clearly not just what someone is doing, but why, not just what they say, but what their soul is aligning toward, and in his case, the love he feels for you is undeniable, but it is currently being clouded by attachments to the past, fear of loss, or loyalty to comfort zones that are no longer fully aligned with his growth, and this is delicate territory, not for manipulation, not for coercion, but for observation, because the universe works in sequences, it shifts energies gradually to allow both parties to choose clarity over confusion, truth over avoidance, and authenticity over pretense. And that is exactly what is happening now, whether he is aware of it or not, and don't scroll, because your presence in this process is sacred. Your stability, your patience, your refusal to compromise your essence is what allows the divine timing to unfold. Your heart needs this right now because the man who loves you is learning that divided loyalty comes with consequences, internal turbulence, emotional friction, and that the pull he feels toward you is stronger than any habit, any obligation, any temporary comfort. And this internal conflict is what will force him to face his choices eventually. And you don't need to push, prod, or plead, because the universe is working on alignment, and alignment does not require your effort, it requires your readiness, and you are ready, you are anchored, and you are attuned to the subtleties that indicate when love is real and when it is distorted, and pay attention, because real love is not urgent, it does not demand compliance, it does not insist on immediate surrender, it shows up in consistency, in quiet devotion, in respect for boundaries, and it recognizes the soul it desires even when circumstances are messy, even when timing seems off, and this is exactly what is happening energetically between you two, a magnetic pull that cannot be erased, because true connections persist across time, across distraction, across temporary obstacles, and don't scroll, because your awareness of this is your protection, your intuition is your guide, and your discernment is your shield, and your heart needs this right now because it is learning to trust itself more than it trusts external validation, and that trust is essential, because when clarity arrives, when the other woman is no longer a barrier, you will recognize truth immediately, without confusion, without doubt, without needing to wrestle for confirmation, because the universe has already orchestrated the alignment in a way that mirrors your growth, your patience, and your integrity. And until that moment arrives, every pause, every delay, every moment of internal restlessness is part of the recalibration, the necessary preparation for what will be undeniable once it manifests. And don't scroll, because noticing these subtle cues, honoring your boundaries, and maintaining your inner calm is exactly what preserves your power, preserves your dignity, preserves the ability to step into a relationship or a connection that truly matches your soul's vibration. And your heart needs this right now because it has been conditioned to recognize what is authentic, and the universe is giving you confirmation after confirmation, subtly, consistently, so that when the choice is made, when the truth becomes unavoidable, you are ready, steady, and luminous, not frantic, not desperate, not compromised, and that is crucial, because love that arrives in chaos often leaves chaos behind, but love that arrives after alignment leaves a legacy of peace, growth, and mutual respect. And this is why the man who loves you is experiencing such tension, such internal turbulence. Because his soul is being forced to confront what it has been avoiding, and you are witnessing this with discernment, without interference, without losing yourself in his confusion, and this is the lesson, the practice, the gift, that is being offered to you now. Don't scroll, because it matters that you recognize the value of your own heart in this moment, the integrity of your patience, the sacredness of your boundaries. And your heart needs this right now, because when he finally chooses, it will be with the clarity and presence you have been cultivating, not with desperation or avoidance, and that clarity will be unmistakable. It will feel like home, like recognition, like arrival, not because it is dramatic or sudden, but because it is inevitable, aligned, and divinely timed. And until then, every feeling of longing, every flash of doubt, every pang of uncertainty is simply the universe's way of guiding you to stay anchored, stay whole, stay faithful to your own growth, and don't scroll, because every moment you resist the temptation to compromise, every time you choose patience over reaction, every time you honor your inner knowing, you are participating in the orchestration of a love story that is far greater than any single outcome, greater than confusion, greater than distraction, greater than fear. And your heart needs this right now because the depth of what is coming will only be fully received if you remain present, aware, and uncompromising in your truth, and the final alignment will feel inevitable, undeniable, and profoundly healing, because the universe always arranges for love to arrive when hearts are truly ready to meet, and that readiness is yours. There is a quiet unfolding taking place right now that your heart can feel, even if your mind struggles to put it into words. And don't scroll, listen to this, because this message is for you and your heart needs this right now. It needs clarity, it needs understanding, and it needs the kind of reassurance that only comes from recognizing divine orchestration in situations that feel complicated and heavy. Because the man who loves you but is entangled with another woman is not just a story about jealousy or heartbreak, it is a story about timing, energy, and the subtle spiritual lessons that life often disguises in relational tension, and your intuition has been nudging you toward awareness, toward discernment, toward the ability to see past appearances and into the patterns that reveal truth, and this is exactly why you felt such a persistent pull in your chest, a sense that something important is occurring behind the surface, something that the world may not recognize, but your spirit does. And don't scroll, because your spirit has been tuned to notice the frequencies of love, deception, and alignment, and that tuning is what will protect you now, because it allows you to remain whole, grounded, and unshaken even when emotions around you are volatile, conflicted, or unpredictable, and your heart needs this right now because you are learning that love is not measured by access, attention, or proximity. It is measured by authenticity, consistency, and the capacity to honor the soul it is drawn to without undermining your own, and this is a crucial distinction, because many people mistake desire for alignment, presence for devotion, and attachment for love, but real love is expansive, patient, and aligned with higher truths, and that is what the universe has been showing you, subtly, gently, in the way he returns, in the way his energy shifts when he's near you, in the recurring signs that appear in numbers, in dreams, in people, in synchronicities that speak louder than words, and these are confirmations that what feels suspended is not lost, what feels uncertain is not misaligned, and what feels complicated is not necessarily wrong, it is preparatory, it is protective, and it is part of the divine timing that ensures that when choices are finally made, they will arrive from clarity rather than panic, from alignment rather than impulse, from integrity rather than confusion, and don't scroll, because your role in this is not to force action, convince understanding, or push outcomes, it is to cultivate presence, to honor your boundaries, to maintain patience, and to trust the signals that your own intuition is delivering, because intuition is the compass that navigates this terrain, the lens that filters distractions, and the guide that ensures you do not compromise your peace for temporary proximity. And your heart needs this right now because the stakes are not just romantic, they are spiritual, energetic, and deeply tied to the growth you have undergone over years of learning, waiting, and evolving, and this is why the universe does not allow misalignment to persist indefinitely, because love, real love, demands truth, demands courage, and demands reckoning, and that reckoning is underway in his life even if it hasn't yet manifested outwardly, because inner tension precedes external clarity, and conflict within the heart is the precursor to decisions that reflect soul alignment, and don't scroll, because watching this unfold is both an exercise in patience and a recognition that your heart's discernment is being validated, your awareness is sharpening, and your spiritual maturity is being tested not by suffering but by stillness, by witnessing, by holding your own integrity even when the other's actions are confusing or disappointing, and your heart needs this right now because it is learning that your value is inherent, not contingent on his choices, that your peace is non-negotiable, and that your readiness for authentic love is a magnet for the alignment that is forming, which is more powerful than any external influence, distraction, or obstacle, and this alignment is already in motion, subtly restructuring dynamics, clearing paths, and creating conditions where truth cannot remain hidden, where authentic desire cannot be ignored, and where the magnetic pull between your soul and his cannot be denied. But this does not mean the path will be without tests, because true alignment always arrives alongside opportunities to prove that you will not compromise your standards, that you will not confuse longing with allowance, that you will not mistake intensity for integrity, and this is why your patience, discernment, and inner stability are vital now, because they are the vessels through which the manifestation of real love will arrive intact, undiluted, and fully aligned with your soul's frequency. And don't scroll, because understanding the nature of this waiting is key to avoiding heartbreak masquerading as opportunity, to avoiding illusions masquerading as devotion, and to avoiding settling for partial alignment when full resonance is possible, and your heart needs this right now because it is learning the difference between what you can influence and what is divinely orchestrated, between the love that requires compromise and the love that mirrors your growth, between attachment that drains and attraction that elevates, and as the universe continues to align circumstances. The man who loves you is being drawn to confront his own truths, to reconcile his divided loyalties, to recognize that what he feels for you cannot be ignored or circumvented without consequence, and the consequence is internal, it is energetic, it is the subtle friction that gnaws at peace, and this friction is designed to push him toward honesty, clarity, and realignment. Because love that is genuine cannot exist alongside falsehood indefinitely, and don't scroll, because witnessing this is part of your own preparation, your own training in self-respect, in maintaining boundaries, and in trusting that love will not arrive prematurely, and your heart needs this right now because the clarity that emerges from this tension will teach you more about your worth, your alignment, and your readiness for love than any smooth or immediate union could, and when that clarity arrives, whether it manifests as separation, reunion, or revelation, you will recognize it instantly, without doubt, without confusion, because your intuition has been sharpened by every pause, every moment of waiting, every test of patience, and every recognition that love that matters is never rushed, it is revealed in sequence, in timing, and in alignment with the soul. And don't scroll, because understanding that you are a participant in this divine orchestration, not just an observer, will empower you to remain grounded, calm, and ready, and your heart needs this right now. Because the lessons it is learning now will shape not only the outcome with him but the depth, quality, and integrity of every connection you accept in the future, and this is the gift hidden within the complexity, the blessing embedded in tension, and the sacred preparation that ensures that when love finally meets readiness, it does so fully, authentically, and indelibly, leaving behind no regret, no compromise, and no question of alignment. There is a profound moment approaching in your life, one that your soul has been sensing for some time, and don't scroll, listen to this, because this message is for you, and your heart needs this right now. It needs to recognize that everything you've endured, everything you've felt, every pang of longing, every sense of uncertainty, every whisper of intuition has been leading you to this point. Because the man who loves you but is with another woman is not just a random circumstance, he is a catalyst, a mirror, a teacher, and understanding this is essential, because the universe always arranges situations with purpose, even when they feel painful or confusing, and your awareness of the truth, the discernment that has been growing quietly within you, is what will guide you through the next phase without losing your integrity, without compromising your peace, and without surrendering your self-respect. And your heart needs this right now because it is learning to witness love and conflict simultaneously, to hold space for both attraction and separation, for desire and patience, for hope and boundaries, and that ability to balance opposing forces within yourself is what will attract the clarity, alignment, and genuine partnership that you deserve. And don't scroll, because this is not about rushing outcomes, it is about understanding timing, reading the signals, and trusting that the universe is orchestrating every move, every choice, and every interaction in a way that is far beyond what your mind can calculate. And the other woman in his life is part of the energy that must be cleared, not because she is evil, not because she is malicious, but because she represents patterns, attachments, and alignments that are no longer compatible with his highest good or yours, and the tension you feel when you think about her is a signal from your intuition that the situation is incomplete, unfinished, and in need of resolution. And don't scroll, because your presence, your emotional steadiness, and your ability to remain grounded are the stabilizing forces in this process, and your heart needs this right now because it is learning that true love never asks you to shrink, never asks you to tolerate divided attention, never asks you to chase what is already aligned, and these lessons are not abstract, they are lived, they are felt, and they are felt deeply, because the energy between you and him is intense, magnetic, and transformative, and that intensity is a reminder that love is not casual. It is sacred, and sacred things require patience, reverence, and wisdom, and your heart needs this right now because it is cultivating those exact qualities, because the universe does not deliver relationships of depth to those who are unwilling to honor themselves, and this is exactly what you are learning in the quiet moments of reflection, in the spaces between messages, in the periods when you feel unseen, unnoticed, or in suspense, because that suspension is not punishment, it is preparation, and it is protection. And don't scroll, because understanding this distinction is crucial for your emotional survival and for your spiritual growth, and your heart needs this right now because it is learning the difference between attachment that drains and resonance that uplifts, between desire that consumes and love that elevates, between presence that nurtures and attention that destabilizes. And the signs have been everywhere, subtle confirmations that the energy between you is alive, that the potential for alignment is real, that your patience is not in vain, and that the timing is divinely orchestrated. And don't scroll, because noticing these signs, acknowledging them, and acting in harmony with them is what ensures that when the man who loves you finally confronts his choices, he does so in a way that reflects the clarity, honesty, and integrity that you have been cultivating. And your heart needs this right now because it is learning that love, true love, never forces, never manipulates, never coaxes, it simply aligns, and alignment cannot occur without readiness on both sides, without truth in the heart, and without the willingness to release what no longer serves growth. And the universe is clearing those energies now, whether he is aware of it or not, whether circumstances appear chaotic or calm. And don't scroll, because witnessing this process, staying grounded, and maintaining your boundaries is the act of faith and power that will determine the quality of what comes next. And your heart needs this right now because it is learning that your value is inherent, that your peace is non-negotiable, and that readiness for authentic love is the most potent magnet for alignment. And the choices he will face are being amplified by unseen forces, by internal reflection, by moments of stillness that force him to confront his feelings. And when those moments arrive, they will be undeniable, unavoidable, and instructive. And don't scroll, because your role is not to rush, control, or manipulate, but to remain anchored, receptive, and steady, because the universe responds to your energy as much as to his actions. And your heart needs this right now because it is learning the art of patience, the power of discernment, and the blessing of remaining whole while external circumstances shift. And that is sacred, because it allows clarity to emerge organically, without coercion, without drama, and without compromise. And the other woman's presence will eventually clarify what has always been true, that his energy belongs where it aligns, and his heart will be forced to recognize the truth he has long ignored. And don't scroll, because observing this unfolding with calm, steady awareness is your greatest power. And your heart needs this right now because it is learning that love is never about scarcity, it is never about competition, and it is never about desperation, it is about resonance, respect, and readiness. And when those conditions are met, the union, reunion, or revelation that awaits will be undeniable, deep, and irrevocably aligned. And your role in this story, your patience, your boundaries, and your steadfastness are exactly what will allow that alignment to land without chaos, without compromise, and without regret. And don't scroll, because the universe is ensuring that when the truth comes forward, it will arrive with clarity, integrity, and unmistakable resonance. And your heart needs this right now because everything you have experienced, felt, and endured has been preparing you to receive love that honors your soul fully, completely, and without hesitation. And that moment, when it comes, will feel inevitable, divinely guided, and profoundly transformational, leaving no room for doubt, confusion, or compromise, only recognition, alignment, and the deep, resonant peace that accompanies the love that was always meant to find you.